Well, the Eagles just got some huge news before their rematch with the Giants, and it isn't exactly great, as Philly suffered a couple of brutal blows to their offense, as the latest news on a couple key starters is not what fans were hoping for. And same goes for the defense, as the news there isn't great either, and that includes the latest update on Brandon Graham. However, the Birds might actually have a couple new advantages in this game. As opposed to last time, they're in a much better position to shut down the Giants' rushing attack. But it still won't be easy, and the Giants' latest injury news only makes things more difficult for Philly. So let's talk about that and break down this entire NFC East matchup and what the Eagles have to do to win, starting right now. So the Eagles vs. Giants Week 8 NFC East rematch is just a couple of days away, and this is going to be a huge test to see where the Eagles are currently at, because they just played New York a couple weeks ago, and Philly got absolutely embarrassed in that one. But now, they're coming off an encouraging win against the Vikings. Things seem to be trending up. But if they come out in this one and fall flat again, that's obviously a terrible sign. But if they show clear improvement, they stop Jaxson Dart and Skattebo, and they build off that offensive performance from last week, then that's definitely a positive sign that they are building in the right direction. So the Giants, I think, are the perfect gauge to see where this team is at right now, and a win would also be huge to keep them firmly in the race for the NFC's top seed, as right now they're currently in a 6-way tie for second at 5-2 and sit right behind the 4-1-1 Packers. So, again, obviously everything is super close, making a win even more important. And luckily for them, unlike last game, they're going to have the advantage of having a home crowd for this one, so the rookie Jaxson Dart is going to be walking into a much more hostile environment, and Giants wide receiver Darius Slayton knows that that's a tough challenge.
What advice would you give to a rookie quarterback about going into Philly to play for the first time?
If he didn't have any haters, he'll find out where they all live. He's about to get introduced to all of them, but it's still just football. Obviously, especially he's an SEC kid like me, and you play in that conference. It's the same way going to those away stadiums, and honestly, that's what makes it great. That competitive fire.
I'm sure that this won't be the difference in the outcome of the game, but no doubt coming to Philly makes this game so much tougher on Jaxson Dart and the Giants, so drop a like down below for that. Let's see if we can hit at least 500 likes today. That would be greatly appreciated because it helps me out a ton. But what's obviously more important is that the Eagles defense learns from what happened last time and just get those issues fixed. And obviously, the number one priority is going to be stopping the Giants' run game, as in the last matchup, New York ran all over the Philly defense. Skattebo ended up with 98 yards and 3 touchdowns, while just flat out bullying Vic Fangio's unit. And then Jaxson Dart did a ton of damage with his legs too, putting up 58 rushing yards and a touchdown on 13 carries. And, he really got the Giants out of some tough situations. I truly do think that was one of the biggest reasons why the Giants were able to dominate the way they did, just because of Dart's scrambling ability and his ability to escape tough situations. So in this game, the Eagles are going to have to be a lot better at stopping him and the Giants' rushing attack as a whole.
It didn't surprise me. I've watched him in college. He's an athletic quarterback who can make plays with his legs. And he did a good job of that when we played him the first time, obviously. In their run game. Their run game was really good against us. So being able to stop that, and try to contain the quarterback as much as we can, and we're gonna have to cover, for longer downfield, just because of what he can do with his legs.
Sure. I have no doubt in my mind that the Eagles can stop the run game of the Giants. Just last week against the Vikings, we saw them have their best performance of the season in terms of stopping the run, as they let up only 89 yards on the ground to Minnesota's offense. So, again, they are capable of stopping the run, and I actually think one big advantage that they have this week that they didn't have the last time these two teams faced is Nakobe Dean. As like I talked about earlier in the week, I don't think it's any coincidence that the Birds' best performance against the run came in Nakobe's first real return to action. He was flying all over the field and made some really, really nice plays. So I think having him in this game, playing a bigger role on defense, definitely gives the Eagles an edge that they didn't have last time and should help them slow down Skattebo. Plus, we can't forget that the Eagles didn't have Jalen Carter the last time these teams played, and his presence obviously makes the Eagles' run defense, the pass rush, and the overall defense just so much better. So him playing in this game also definitely gives the Eagles an edge that they didn't have last time, as does Quinyon Mitchell's presence, as of course he got hurt in the last Giants game and missed most of that contest. So again, I think the Eagles defense is in a much, much better position to have success against the Giants than last time around. I think their defensive line has the advantage over the Giants' offensive line and should be able to get pressure on Jaxson Dart. Again, I think the run defense should be good, but the biggest key is just making sure that Jaxson Dart cannot escape and do damage with his legs like he did in that last game. And if they can shut that down, I think they'll be in a great position to win this game. Unfortunately, though, the defense won't be getting a boost this week in regards to Brandon Graham's return, as he was officially ruled out on the team's final injury report. And honestly, this is a little unexpected to me. I mean, I don't know why, but I really just thought BG was going to play. But I guess they just wanted to give him a little bit more time to get back into playing shape. So, that makes sense, but still unfortunate. And also, edge rusher Azeez Ojulari will be out as well. So, the Birds are definitely a little thin on the edge for this game, with just Jalix Hunt, Josh Uche, and Patrick Johnson healthy. And also, moving over to cornerback, Adoree Jackson was officially ruled out as well, which comes as no surprise. However, what is a bit of a surprise, in my opinion, is that Jakorian Bennett was also ruled out for the game despite being a full participant in practice the past 2 days. So, despite previous speculation, he obviously will not be getting the start this week, and instead, it'll be Kelee Ringo once again starting opposite Quinyon Mitchell. So, hopefully he holds up a little better than last time. Switching over to the other side of the ball, though, I think, obviously, the big talking point for the past couple of weeks has been the running game, as of course, they've just not been able to get things going there, and that's really held them back. But also, as I've been talking about all week, they're definitely trending in the right direction. I mean, in the first quarter, they've been averaging over 5 yards per carry. Play calling wise, last week we saw them make a shift to more outside runs, which yielded 4.3 yards per carry. And also, going under center more and running play action shots out of it, like we saw last week, is definitely something that'll help the run game, because it forces defenses to back off and account for more than one thing. So again, I think things are clearly trending up in that area. And now it's just going to be about whether the players and specifically the offensive line can execute or not. And Jordan Mailata seems to be motivated after saying that the last Giants game was the worst of his career. So he might be, again, a little extra motivated for this one. Also, Landon Dickerson seems to be a little bit healthier, which is good. And they also have a favorable matchup here against the Giants' run defense that ranks 25th. So, this is a big opportunity for them. And who knows, maybe this is finally the week where Saquon Barkley and the rushing attack break through. Unfortunately, though, they will be without their starting center in this one, as Cam Jurgens has officially been listed as out for the matchup after missing practice all throughout the week with a knee injury. So that's definitely not great. I mean, again, it definitely hurts the run game as Brett Toth isn't nearly as good there. However, on the other hand, I do actually want to give credit to the offensive line for stepping up their pass blocking last week, as it was easily their best performance of the season, and it resulted in Jalen Hurts in the passing game having their best game. And also, gotta give credit where credit is due to both Lane Johnson, who has just been in a league of his own this year when it comes to average time to pressure and also pressure rate. But honestly, that's no surprise. I mean, it's Lane Johnson. But what is a surprise, though, is that among guards, Tyler Steen has actually been the best in the league when it comes to average time to pressure, and he hasn't been bad in pressure rate either. So, gotta give credit to him, and hopefully he and the offensive line can have a good performance both pass blocking and run blocking, even without Cam Jurgens. And in regards to the passing game as a whole, hopefully they're able to build off their great performance last week against the Vikings. Unfortunately, though, they did just take a big hit with the latest news on A.J. Brown, as he missed practice yet again on Friday with a hamstring injury, and obviously, when you miss practice for an entire week, chances are you're not going to be playing on Sunday. However, when Nick Sirianni was asked about it on Friday morning, he did give Eagles fans some hope that maybe there was a chance that AJ was going to play.
Is there anything you could share with us about AJ's status and your confidence he'll be able to play Sunday?
Yeah, well, we got to see after this practice, and you'll get everything. So just always want the most time we have to be able to evaluate before we give you guys any information on that.
Is he a player that you think could play on Sunday, even if he doesn't take any practice reps this week?
Yeah, everybody has different scenarios with that, and I think a lot of our guys, just because of the how locked in that we are to the details, and our guys are locked into the details, the game plan studying, the way they go about walkthrough, the way they go about meetings. I definitely think that he's a guy that could.
Unfortunately, Sirianni's comments proved to be empty, as AJ has officially been listed as out on the team's final injury report of the week, so that's definitely a major blow to the Eagles' passing attack, but luckily, they still got Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith coming off a career high that can pick up the slack, and also maybe Jahan Dotson sees an uptick in his targets and his role, but we'll see. Either way, again, AJ not playing definitely is a major blow to the passing attack. And now, switching over to the Giants injury news, they got some really good news on Friday. As well, unfortunately for them, they will be without starting corner Paulson Adebo, defensive lineman Chauncey Golston, and also likely starting safety Javon Holland, who is listed as doubtful. There is a solid chance that edge rusher and NFL sack leader Brian Burns will play, as he practiced on Friday and was officially listed as questionable for the game. Not to mention that earlier in the week, Burns was asked if he would play, and he said this.
Where are you at physically? Are you good to go for Sunday?
I'm good.
I'll admit, I definitely missed that earlier in the week, so that's my bad. But obviously, having Burns in the lineup makes the Giants' defensive line and pass rush significantly better. And in the last game, he really gave the Eagles' offensive line problems. So they're going to have to find a way to contain him if they want to win this game. Overall, though, I feel good about the Eagles getting their get back over the Giants in this one, because I do think, again, they are trending in the right direction. So I'm going to pick Philly to win by a final score of 27-23. I do think it's going to be tight, but again, I got the Birds pulling out the win. That said, you guys can give me your score predictions down in the comments below, and also, while you're at it, make sure you subscribe and you turn on notifications. That way you don't miss any other Eagles content that I got coming throughout the rest of this season. And also, if you did enjoy this video and you want to show some support, then please leave a like down below. It really does help me out so much, guys. Again, let's see if we can get to at least 500 likes on today's video. And also, hit the hype button, because that helps me out a ton as well. And also, if you do want to watch another Eagles video, you can check this out right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.